There is a phrase a lot of adult children use when they are helping an aging parent. They say, "I'm just helping." And sometimes that is exactly what it is. You picked up groceries. You drove your parent to one appointment. You helped with one form, one phone call, or one errand. That is helping. It matters. It is loving. It is useful. And sometimes it really does have a clear beginning and end. But there is another kind of responsibility that can sneak in quietly. It does not always come with a family meeting or a title. One day you are helping with one thing. Then, little by little, you become the person who knows when the appointment is, where the insurance card is, which doctor said what bill looked confusing, what medication changed, who needs to be called back, and what still needs to be handled. At that point, you may not just be helping anymore. You may be managing life logistics, and that is a different kind of workload. When I say life logistics, I mean the practical details that help a person's life keep moving. Appointments, prescriptions, paperwork, transportation, household calls, family updates, and follow-up steps that somehow multiply when nobody is looking. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a folder on the table. Sometimes it looks like sticky notes in a phone call you keep forgetting to return. Sometimes it looks like sitting in the parking lot after an appointment, trying to remember what the doctor said before you drive home. And sometimes it looks like waking up at 2 a.m. and thinking, "Did I ever call them back?" That is the part people do not always see. They may see you take your parent somewhere. They may see you answer the phone, but they may not see the thinking behind it. Before one appointment, you may have confirmed the time, found the insurance card, written down questions, and moved things around in your own schedule. Afterward, you may still need to remember instructions, schedule a follow-up, explain the update, or make sure the next step does not get missed. So from the outside, it may look like one appointment, but from the inside, it can feel like a whole little project. That is one of the biggest differences between helping and managing. Helping is often the task. Managing is the coordination around the task. Helping says, "I can drive you there." Managing says, "I need to make sure we know where we are going, what we need to bring, what needs to be asked, what changed afterward, and who else needs to know." Now, I want to be careful here. Managing life logistics does not mean taking over your parent's life. It does not mean your parent no longer has a voice, and it does not mean you stop respecting their privacy, choices, or independence. The goal is not control. The goal is clarity. It is recognizing when the practical details have started depending on you, so you can stop carrying them as if they are just random little favors. Because when you do not name that responsibility, it is easy to minimize it. You may keep telling yourself, "It's just a few things." But a few things can become a pattern, and that pattern can become the part of the system that depends on you. One sign that you have moved from helping into managing is that you are the one tracking the details. You know which office to call. You know what is still unresolved. You know where the paperwork might be. You know who said they would call back but did not. Another sign is that people start coming to you for updates. A family member may ask, "What did the doctor say?" Or, "Did that bill get handled?" Or, "When is the next appointment?" And you may realize everyone assumes you know because you have been tracking it all. Another sign is that the work follows you home. You may not be with your parent at that moment, but your mind is still carrying the next step. Call the pharmacy, check the message, ask about the bill, write down the appointment, remind them about the form. It becomes a quiet background tab in your brain. And let me just say, if your brain has too many tabs open and one of them is playing mystery music, you are not alone. This is why the shift can feel so heavy. It often happens slowly. It may begin with one errand, then one appointment, then one form, then one bill, then one emergency, then one moment where you realize that if you stepped away, certain details might stall because nobody else knows where things stand. And suddenly, you are not only doing tasks, you are holding the moving parts together with memory, concern, and whatever notebook, phone note, envelope, or kitchen table pile is available at the time. That can bring up a lot of feelings. You may feel grateful that you can help, protective of your parent, frustrated, tired, and then guilty for feeling frustrated or tired. But feeling overwhelmed does not mean you do not care. Sometimes it means the responsibility has grown, but the structure around it has not grown with it. That is why naming it matters. When you call it just helping, it can sound small. But when you say, I am managing several pieces of my parents' life logistics, you give the work a more honest name. And once you name it, you can see which parts of the role are occasional, which parts are ongoing, and what other people may not realize you are carrying. That kind of clarity also helps when you need to ask for help. Instead of saying, I need help, and hoping people understand the cloud of responsibility around you, you can get more specific. You might say, I need someone to handle appointment transportation this month. Or, I need someone to help track which bills have been paid. Or, I need a backup person who knows what to do if I cannot answer the phone. People cannot always help with the cloud, but they may be able to help with a specific part of the role. So if you are realizing that you are managing more than you thought, the first step is not to organize your parents' entire life in one weekend. The first step is to notice what depends on you. Ask yourself, what am I doing once in a while, and what am I tracking all the time? Am I mostly helping with errands? Am I coordinating appointments? Am I the paperwork person? Am I the person family members call for updates? Am I the person who notices when something is missing, overdue, or confusing? Those answers tell you where your role has grown. And once you see the role more clearly, you can decide what needs a simple system, what can be shared, and what may need professional guidance. Some things may need a short list, a shared calendar, a folder, or a family conversation. Some things, especially legal, medical, insurance, or financial decisions, may need guidance from qualified professionals. The point is not to make everything perfect. The point is to stop carrying an invisible job without language for it. Another helpful question is this: if I could hand one part of this to someone else, what would it be? Not everything, just one part. The appointment reminders, the bill questions, the family updates, the transportation, the document search, the backup contact role. Sometimes support starts by separating the work into pieces that can actually be named. And that is important because managing life logistics can blur the line between love and responsibility. You may love your parent deeply and still need a clearer system. You may respect your parents' independence and still need other people to understand that the role has become bigger than one errand. Those things can all be true at the same time. So if you have been saying, I'm just helping, but it feels heavier than that, there may be a reason. You may be managing life logistics. You may be carrying the invisible coordination behind the visible tasks, and you deserve to see that clearly. Not so you can feel bad, not so you can add another title to your already full life, but so you can stop treating a real workload like it is just a handful of favors. Start with one reflection. What depends on me right now? Start with one conversation. Who else needs to understand what I am carrying? Start with one handoff. What is one specific piece someone else could help with? You do not have to fix everything today, but you can begin by naming what you are carrying and separating it into pieces that are easier to see. And if you already use a tool, a notebook, a folder system, a calendar, an app, or any method that helps you keep track of your parents' information, appointments, documents, or daily responsibilities, please leave a comment and share what has helped you. Your idea may help another adult child who is trying to figure this out too. And if you need a place to begin, you can visit Blue Spark Virtual Solutions and request the free Parent Affairs Starter Kit. It is designed to help you start gathering the basic information instead of keeping everything in your head. As always, This video is for general educational purposes only. It is not legal, medical, financial, or professional advice. Please speak with the appropriate qualified professionals about your specific situation, especially when decisions involve healthcare, insurance, legal documents, money, or your parent's care. Because helping your parent matters, but understanding what you are carrying matters too. And sometimes, the first step toward making it feel less overwhelming is simply calling the work by its real name.